Have you ever picked up a handful of nuts, thinking you're doing something great for your health, only to find out later that it might not be so simple? It's confusing, isn't it? One article says, nuts are heart-healthy superfoods, and the next one warns they're loaded with harmful compounds. For older adults especially, it can feel like a guessing game. And the last thing you want is to put something in your body that could be quietly hurting your joints, your digestion, or even your memory. You're not alone if you've ever felt overwhelmed trying to figure out what's truly healthy. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive. What worked in our 30s or 40s might not sit so well in our 60s and beyond. A little heartburn here, some bloating there, or those stiff knees that just won't quit. All of it starts to feel more noticeable. And let's be honest, when you're doing your best to eat right, it's frustrating to learn that certain foods, even the ones labeled healthy, might be working against you. But here's the good news. When you know which foods support your body and which ones quietly chip away at your well-being, everything starts to shift. You feel lighter, more energetic, and even mentally sharper. Imagine reaching into your pantry, grabbing a snack, and feeling confident that it's not just tasty, it's actually helping you stay strong, clear-headed, and mobile. That's what we're going to talk about today. Because when it comes to nuts, not all of them are created equal. And making the right choices here can make a big difference in how you feel today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Let's start with why nuts even matter in the first place. They're small, sure, but inside those tiny shells is a powerhouse of nutrition that can support your health in ways you might not expect. You see, nuts are one of the most compact sources of protein, healthy fats, and essential vitamins and minerals. They've been a part of human diets for thousands of years, long before anyone ever talked about superfoods or cholesterol. And when it comes to aging well, they've got a few tricks up their sleeves. Take protein for example. As we age, maintaining muscle mass becomes more important than ever. You might not be lifting weights or running marathons, but even simple things like standing up from a chair or walking upstairs require strength. That strength starts with the muscles, and muscles need protein. Many seniors struggle to get enough protein, especially if they've cut back on meat. Nuts offer a plant-based way to keep those muscles fed, without having to fire up the stove or cook a big meal. Then there are the healthy fats. Not all fats are bad. In fact, the right kinds of fats are vital for your brain, your heart, and even your joints. The fats found in many nuts, like monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, can help lower the kind of cholesterol that clogs arteries, while supporting the type that protects your heart. Think of it as giving your body the oil it needs to run smoothly. Dry, achy joints, that might be a sign your body's craving more healthy fats. Foggy thinking or memory slips. Your brain, which is made up of about 60% fat, depends on good fats to function clearly. And we can't forget the vitamins and minerals packed inside. Nuts contain magnesium, which helps with bone strength and calming your nerves. They've got vitamin E, which supports skin health and may protect brain cells. Some even contain trace minerals like selenium and zinc, which play a role in your immune system, thyroid function, and keeping your energy levels steady. These nutrients might not make headlines, but they're the quiet workhorses that keep your body humming along behind the scenes. But it's not just about the nutrients, it's about the bigger picture, how these nutrients interact with the needs of an aging body. As we get older, the things we used to bounce back from, like inflammation, blood sugar spikes, or sleepless nights, start taking a heavier toll. That's where the right nuts, in the right amounts, can help fill in the gaps. They can support brain clarity, help keep blood pressure in check, and even play a role in keeping your bones strong and your mood balanced. Now, with all that said, it's easy to assume that nuts are the perfect food. But here's where things get tricky. There's a lot of misinformation out there. You might have heard that eating a handful of nuts every day is the best thing you can do for your heart, or that peanut butter is a healthy snack, because it's full of protein. But not all of that is true, at least not for everyone. For one, not every nut is created equal. Some are roasted in inflammatory oils that can quietly stir up trouble in your system. Others are high in oxalates, natural compounds, that in large amounts can lead to kidney stones or joint pain. And while lectins and phytates, Also found in some nuts are natural defenses used by plants. They can make digestion harder and block your body from absorbing key nutrients if you're already sensitive. There's also the issue of mold. Most people don't think twice about it, but certain nuts, especially peanuts, are more prone to contamination by aflatoxins, a type of mold that's been linked to liver stress and inflammation. This might not be a big deal for a younger person with a strong gut and liver, but for an older adult dealing with chronic conditions or a weakened immune system, it's something worth paying attention to. Moderation is another big piece of the puzzle. Even the healthiest nuts can become a problem if you're eating too much. They're calorie-dense, which means it's easy to overdo it without realizing. A small handful can quickly turn into 2 or 3, especially if you're distracted or snacking out of habit. And when you're trying to manage weight, blood sugar or digestion, those extra handfuls can sneak up on you. Then there's the matter of balance. If nuts are your go-to snack, but the rest of your meals are lacking variety, you might be missing out on other essential nutrients. The goal isn't to treat any food like a miracle cure, it's to build a well-rounded, nourishing diet that works with your body, not against it. Think of nuts as part of a bigger toolbox, not the whole solution. So yes, nuts can be incredibly beneficial, but only if you choose the right ones, eat them the right way, and stay mindful of how they interact with your body. Because what works for one person at 40 may not work the same way at 70. Your body's needs evolve, and your choices should evolve with them. When you tune in and give your body the foods it truly needs, it responds. The brain gets sharper, the knees ache less, the energy lasts longer, and the simple joy of feeling good in your body becomes something you look forward to every single day. So now that we understand the bigger picture, let's talk about which nuts actually do support your body as you age. Because there are some that go beyond just being a snack, they actually act like little natural supplements, giving your body the tools it needs to stay sharp, steady, and strong. And the first one on that list, walnuts. Walnuts are like brain food in its most natural form. If you crack one open and take a look at it, it even looks like a little brain, nature's way of dropping a hint maybe. They're one of the best plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. Now, omega-3s are famous for supporting heart health, but what's especially important for seniors is how they affect the brain. As we get older, memory can start to slip. Focus gets fuzzy. You might find yourself searching for a word mid-sentence or losing your train of thought. That's where walnuts come in. Omega-3s ALA help reduce inflammation in the brain. They keep the blood flowing, and the brain cells communicating the way they're supposed to. They can even support the repair of damaged cells, helping your mind stay clear and responsive. If you've ever had one of those moments where your thoughts felt like they were moving through molasses, that foggy feeling, walnuts might help lift some of that. But it's not just your mind they support. Walnuts also contain polyphenols, natural compounds that act like antioxidants. These help fight off inflammation throughout the entire body. And for seniors dealing with arthritis, joint stiffness, or chronic inflammation, that's a big deal. The more you reduce inflammation, the easier it becomes to move, sleep, and simply enjoy your day without discomfort constantly tugging at your attention. Now, when's the best time to eat walnuts? Try having them in the morning or with lunch. Adding a small handful to your oatmeal or yogurt can set your brain up for a more focused day. Or sprinkle them into a salad to give your lunch a satisfying crunch. Just keep it to about a quarter cup. A little goes a long way, and too much fat in one sitting can make digestion sluggish, especially if you're already dealing with a slower metabolism. Now let's shift to almonds. These might be one of the most popular nuts out there, and for good reason. They pack an impressive mix of nutrients, especially for seniors looking to protect their bones and age gracefully. First off, almonds are rich in calcium and magnesium, two minerals your bones depend on to stay strong. As we age, bone density becomes a concern. Osteoporosis creeps up quietly, and the risk of falls or fractures increases. Adding almonds to your routine is a simple way to support your skeletal strength without needing to pop more pills. But beyond your bones, almonds also work wonders for your skin. With their high vitamin E content, they act like a natural moisturizer from the inside out. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant that helps protect your cells from oxidative stress. Basically, it shields your skin from the daily wear and tear that can make it look dull, dry, or aged. If you've been feeling like your skin just doesn't have that same glow it used to, almonds might help bring some of that back. That said, there's something important to know. Almonds, like many nuts, contain natural anti-nutrients, such as phytic acid and lectins. These compounds can make it harder for your body to absorb minerals, especially if you're eating almonds frequently. But there's a simple fix: soaking. If you soak almonds in water overnight, it helps break down those compounds and makes the nutrients easier to digest and absorb. Plus, soaked almonds are softer and easier on your teeth and digestion, which can be helpful if you're dealing with sensitive gums or a slower digestive system. You can enjoy almonds as a snack, chopped up in your cereal, or blended into a smoothie. Just remember, moderation still matters. A small handful is plenty. If you find yourself reaching for more, pair them with something like a slice of fruit to help balance the fat with fiber and natural sweetness. And finally, we come to pistachio. These little green gems are more than just fun to crack open. They're one of the most heart-friendly nuts you can eat, especially if you're watching your cholesterol. Pistachios contain plant sterols, compounds that help lower LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, that can clog arteries and increase your risk of heart disease. And for older adults, keeping the blood flowing smoothly isn't just good for the heart, it's essential for brain function, circulation, and even stamina. But what's really interesting about pistachios is their role in eye health. They're rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, two antioxidants that collect in the retina and help filter out harmful blue light. If you spend time looking at screens or struggle with sensitivity to bright lights, these nutrients can be a game changer. They support long-term vision health and may even help slow age-related macular degeneration. Pistachios are also a great choice for people who tend to snack mindlessly. Because they're typically sold in the shell, eating them takes a little more time and attention. That naturally slows you down, helping you stay aware of how much you're eating. Plus, seeing the growing pile of empty shells acts as a visual cue: your body has had enough. Portion control becomes easier without needing to count or weigh anything. One thing to look out for, though, is the salt. A lot of store-bought pistachios are heavily salted, which can raise blood pressure and cause bloating. Two things many seniors are already working to manage. Try to go for unsalted or lightly salted varieties when you can. Your heart and your kidneys will thank you. So whether it's walnuts for the brain, almonds for the bones and skin, or pistachios for your heart and eyes, each of these nuts offers something unique. And when you choose them wisely, in the right amounts, they become more than a snack. They become a daily act of care for your future self. Now, it's one thing to hear about all these benefits, and it's another to see them in real life, to hear from people just like you who've actually made these small changes and felt a difference. Because when you've spent years dealing with joint pain, brain fog, or low energy, and suddenly things start to feel just a little easier, that change can be nothing short of life-changing. Let me tell you about someone I met named Margaret. She's 73, lives in Florida, and she's one of those people who's always been mindful about what she eats. But despite her best efforts, staying active, eating healthy, she kept struggling with inflammation in her knees. She used to love gardening, but bending down became painful. Her doctor mentioned she might be developing early osteoarthritis, and that hit her hard. Margaret told me that for years she had been snacking on a mix of nuts every day, mostly cashews and peanuts, because that's what she liked. But after doing a little digging and talking with a nutritionist, she made a switch. She swapped the peanuts and cashews for walnuts and almonds. She started soaking her almonds overnight, added a few crushed walnuts to her oatmeal in the mornings, and she cut out all nuts roasted in vegetable oils. 3 months later, she said she could feel the difference. Her joints weren't completely pain-free, but she could kneel down to tend her flowers without wincing. Her hands felt less stiff in the mornings. Most importantly, she said she didn't feel stuck anymore. That's the word she used, stuck. Now she felt like she was moving forward again, even if the progress was slow. Then there's George. He's 68, a retired teacher from Ohio. George was sharp, one of those people who always had a witty remark or a story ready. But a couple years ago, he started noticing that names were slipping away more often. He couldn't remember the name of the neighbor who'd lived next door for 5 years. He'd walk into a room and forget why. At first he joked about it, but deep down, it scared him. His wife started doing research, and she came across an article about omega-3s and brain health. That's when George decided to give walnuts a serious try. He started small, just a handful in the morning, and sometimes a few at night before bed. After a few weeks, he noticed something. His focus was better. He said conversations felt easier again. He didn't have to reach so hard for the right words. It wasn't magic. He still forgot things from time to time, but he said it felt like someone had turned the lights back on. That's how he described it. And what's interesting is that these changes weren't just in their heads. When I spoke with Dr. Angela Ruiz, a geriatric nutritionist who works with older adults every day, she wasn't surprised by their experiences. She explained that as we age, even minor nutritional deficiencies can have a big impact on how we feel, especially when it comes to the brain and joints. She told me that many older adults unknowingly consume nuts that are either covered in sodium, roasted in low-quality oils, or stored improperly, causing rancidity and oxidation. She said the solution isn't to fear nuts, but to become more aware of what you're eating. When someone like George switches from highly processed snack mixes to fresh walnuts, it's not just the omega-3s helping, it's also the absence of all those hidden inflammatory triggers. Dr. Ruiz also emphasized the importance of magnesium, which almonds and pistachios provide in excellent amounts. She said magnesium plays a role in over 300 processes in the body, including nerve function, muscle relaxation, and even sleep quality. Seniors who are low in magnesium often experience restless sleep, muscle cramps, or even mild anxiety. When they start including magnesium-rich foods, like almonds or pumpkin seeds, she says she often sees their sleep improve within weeks. But what really stood out to me was what she said about food as a form of self-respect. She said, "You don't have to overhaul your whole diet, just make 1 or 2 consistent choices every day that send your body the message, I care about you, I'm listening to you, I'm going to feed you what you need." That hit me, because so often people think change has to be massive, or painful, or expensive. But something as small as reaching for pistachios instead of crackers, or choosing soaked almonds over store-bought cookies, it's not just a snack choice. It's a sign you're on your own side. There's also Shirley, 76, from Oregon. She had been battling high cholesterol for years. Her doctor warned her about statins, and she wanted to avoid them if possible. So she started reading, and that's when she discovered the power of pistachios. She switched her usual afternoon snack, usually some chips or pretzels, for a portion of pistachios in the shell. Within 6 months, her LDL cholesterol dropped by 12 points. Her doctor asked what changed, and she told him, "Nothing big, just the nuts." And it's not just the health markers. Shirley said cracking the shells gave her something calming to do with her hands while watching TV. It felt like a ritual, she told me. Something peaceful, like I was taking care of myself without making a big fuss. These stories are powerful, not because they're dramatic or full of overnight transformations. They're powerful because they're real. They show that small changes, done consistently, can create real movement, a clearer mind, a stronger step, a better night's sleep, and more than anything, a growing sense of trust in your own body again, because your body is still listening, even now, even after all the years, the wear and tear, the little aches and big challenges, it still wants to feel good. And when you start feeding it the right things, it shows up for you, quietly, steadily, faithfully. Now, as wonderful as nuts can be for your health, there's another side to the story. Not every nut is a good fit for everyone, especially as we age. Some nuts, while popular and even praised in certain circles, come with risks that are often brushed under the rug. And for seniors, those risks can quietly add up, affecting everything from your joints to your digestion. Let's talk about a few nuts that may be doing more harm than good, especially if you're eating them regularly without realizing the impact. Let's start with peanuts. They're everywhere, at parties, in snack bars, hidden in trail mixes and peanut butter jars. For most of us, peanuts were a childhood staple. They're affordable, familiar, and seem harmless enough. But here's the truth. Most people don't hear. Peanuts aren't actually nuts, they're legumes. And that difference matters. Because peanuts grow underground, and are particularly susceptible to mold. One specific mold, Aspergillus flavus, produces a toxin called aflatoxin. This toxin has been studied for its harmful effects on the liver, and it's classified as a potential carcinogen. Now that doesn't mean eating a handful of peanuts is going to hurt you right away. But when peanuts are a daily habit, especially in older bodies that are already dealing with slower detox systems, that aflatoxin exposure can quietly build up over time. And it's not just about mold. Peanuts also contain a high ratio of omega-6 fatty acids compared to omega-3s. That matters because omega-6s, while necessary in small amounts, can contribute to inflammation when they're not balanced with anti-inflammatory omega-3s. And for seniors already battling chronic inflammation in their joints, arteries, or digestive system, that can be like adding fuel to a slow-burning fire. Speaking of digestion, peanuts are often tough on the gut. They contain lectins, proteins that can irritate the lining of the intestines in some people. If you've been dealing with bloating, gas, or even flare-ups of conditions like diverticulitis or IBS, and you regularly eat peanuts or peanut butter, it might be worth pausing and paying attention. Sometimes the culprit is hiding in plain sight. That doesn't mean you have to give up all your favorite foods forever. If you love the flavor of peanut butter, consider switching to almond butter or walnut butter, natural varieties without added sugars or oils. If it's the crunch you're after, sunflower seeds or soaked almonds can satisfy the same craving with less risk to your system. Now let's talk about cashews. These are often seen as the creamy, indulgent nut, great for vegan recipes, sauces, or even desserts. And yes, they taste amazing. But for seniors, especially those dealing with joint pain or kidney concerns, cashews come with a red flag. The issue is oxalates. Cashews are high in them. Oxalates are natural compounds found in many plant foods, but when eaten in excess, they can bind with calcium in the body and form crystals. And where do those crystals like to go? Often into the joints and kidneys. That's part of why high oxalate intake has been linked to kidney stone formation and joint discomfort. If you've ever had a kidney stone, you know how painful that can be. And while not everyone who eats cashews will develop stones, seniors with reduced kidney function or a history of stones should be especially cautious. Cashews also carry some of the same issues as peanuts in terms of digestion. They're often roasted in inflammatory oils or dusted with salt and flavorings that can irritate the gut and raise blood pressure. And because they're creamy and addictive, it's easy to eat too many in one sitting, especially if you're using them in blended recipes or baked goods. That doesn't mean cashews are evil. In moderation, and when soaked or used in small amounts, they can be part of a balanced diet, but they shouldn't be your go-to daily nut. Think of them more like a treat than a staple. Now the third nut I want to mention might surprise you: macadamia nuts. These are often labeled as heart-healthy, rich in good fats, and packed with nutrients, and all of that is true. But here's the catch: macadamia nuts are extremely dense in fat. Just a small handful can contain more than 200 calories, and for seniors, that can create some unique challenges. First, your gallbladder. This small organ is responsible for releasing bile to help digest fats, and as we age, the gallbladder doesn't always work as smoothly as it used to. Some seniors have sluggish bile production, others have had their gallbladder removed entirely. In either case, eating high-fat foods, especially in large amounts, can lead to indigestion, bloating, or even nausea. Macadamias, with their rich fat profile, can overwhelm that system quickly. Second, digestion in general slows down as we get older. Dense, fatty foods take more time and effort to break down. If you're already dealing with constipation, acid reflux, or a sensitive stomach, eating a handful of macadamias might leave you feeling heavy or uncomfortable afterward. It's important to say that macadamias aren't bad. They're not processed junk. But for seniors, especially those with a delicate digestive system, they can be a hidden source of discomfort. And because they're buttery and delicious, it's easy to eat a lot without realizing it, especially if you're munching while watching TV or reading.
So how do you enjoy macadamias safely? Keep it small, just a few at a time, and preferably paired with something fiber-rich to help your body process the fats more easily. And watch for how your body responds. If you start noticing digestive discomfort after eating them, consider pulling back and trying a lighter nut like pistachios or almonds instead. At the end of the day, it's not about labeling any food as good or bad, it's about knowing what your unique body needs, what it handles well, and what might be quietly holding you back from feeling your best. And for many seniors, limiting peanuts, cashews, and macadamias, while embracing more brain and heart-friendly options like walnuts, almonds, and pistachios, can make a noticeable difference in energy, comfort, and overall well-being. Now here's something that really trips people up, and it's understandable, because it's everywhere. You go to the store, trying to make healthier choices, and you see labels that say things like natural, heart healthy, or no cholesterol. And there on the shelf, looking so innocent, are nut butters, trail mixes, and roasted nut blends that seem like a smart snack. But what most people don't realize is how easily these healthy options can turn into hidden traps, especially for older adults who are trying to support their hearts, joints, or digestion. Let's start with nut butters. Peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, they all sound like they should be great, right? But turn the jar around and look at the ingredients. You'll often see added sugars, hydrogenated oils, and preservatives packed into what should be a simple food. Some even include things like corn syrup solids, or natural flavors, which are often anything but natural. That sugar may not seem like a big deal in 1 tablespoon, but it adds up quickly. A few teaspoons of nut butter on toast might be giving you a sugar spike without you realizing it. And if you're watching your blood sugar, trying to manage weight, or already dealing with insulin resistance, that small spike can send your body on a roller coaster, leaving you more tired, more inflamed, and more prone to cravings later in the day. Then there's the issue of oils. A lot of store-bought nut butters include hydrogenated or refined vegetable oils, like soybean oil, canola oil, or cottonseed oil. These oils are often used to give nut butters a creamy texture and a longer shelf life, but they can be highly inflammatory. And inflammation is at the root of so many age-related conditions, from arthritis, to heart disease, to cognitive decline. It's like adding a drop of poison to something that should be medicine. If you love nut butter, and many of us do, look for versions with one ingredient, just the nut. Whether it's almonds, peanuts, or walnuts, that's all it should say. No sugar, no oil, no extras. Better yet, make your own at home if you can. A good blender or food processor, and a handful of fresh nuts, is all it takes. It's fresher, cleaner, and far more nourishing. Now, let's talk about roasted nuts. Most people don't realize how different roasted nuts are from raw ones, not just in taste, but in what happens to the nutrients. When nuts are roasted at high temperatures, their natural oils can oxidize. That means they lose some of their health benefits, and may even form harmful compounds that contribute to inflammation. Have you ever opened a bag of mixed roasted nuts, and noticed that oily, slightly bitter smell? That's a sign the fats have started to go rancid. And eating rancid fats isn't just unpleasant, it can actually stress your liver, and increase oxidative damage in your body. That's the opposite of what we want, especially when you're trying to eat foods that support healing and longevity. It gets trickier, because some roasted nuts are also cooked in oils like sunflower or safflower oil, which are high in omega-6s. Again, it's that inflammation story. And just like with nut butters, manufacturers often add salt, sugar, or flavorings that sound healthy but aren't. So what's the better option? Raw or dry roasted nuts? Dry roasted means they've been roasted without oil, just heat. They still lose a little nutrition compared to raw, but they're a safer choice. And raw nuts, if stored properly, are your best bet for preserving all those beneficial fats, vitamins, and enzymes. But here's the real key: you have to read the labels, every time. Even when it's something you've bought before. Manufacturers change recipes all the time. What used to be just almonds and salt might suddenly include sugar, oil, or some mysterious natural flavor. And those little changes can make a big difference in how your body responds. Reading labels isn't about becoming obsessive, it's about becoming informed. You deserve to know exactly what you're putting into your body, especially when you're choosing foods that are supposed to nourish you. One small shift, like switching to raw nuts or pure nut butter, can reduce inflammation, improve digestion, and give your body a break from all those artificial extras. Because what you eat should feel like a gift to your body, not a guessing game.
Now that we know which nuts to enjoy and which ones to approach with caution, it's just as important to talk about how to bring them into your daily life in a way that actually supports your health, not just in theory but in practice. Because even the best nuts can lose their benefits, or worse, become harmful, if they're not stored or prepared properly. And for seniors especially, where digestion might be a bit more sensitive and energy reserves a little more precious, the way we handle these foods can make all the difference. Let's start with how to buy nuts wisely. When you're standing in the store aisle, it's easy to be overwhelmed by the options. There are shelves lined with raw, roasted, salted, unsalted, flavored, chopped, organic, non-GMO, and everything in between. The first thing to remember is this: the fewer the ingredients, the better. Ideally, you want just the nut itself, maybe with a pinch of sea salt, but nothing more. And whenever possible, choose organic. Nuts are naturally high in fat, and fats have a tendency to absorb toxins from the environment. That means if pesticides or chemicals were used during the growing process, they're more likely to stick around in the final product. Organic nuts reduce your exposure to those residues, which is especially important for aging bodies that aren't detoxifying as efficiently as they once did. Non-GMO is another important label to look for, not just because of the genetic aspect, but because many GMO crops are grown with heavier pesticide use. While nuts themselves aren't typically genetically modified, some nut blends or flavored varieties may contain GMO-based additives, oils, or coatings. It's one more reason to keep your selections as simple and clean as possible. Once you've brought your nuts home, storage is key. Nuts are full of healthy fats, but those fats are delicate. They go rancid faster than people realize, especially if they're left in warm or sunny places. Rancid nuts don't just taste off, they can actually contribute to oxidative stress in your body, which is the kind of cellular damage that accelerates aging and disease. So here's what you can do: store your nuts in airtight containers and keep them in the fridge or freezer. Yes, the freezer. Nuts freeze really well, and doing so preserves their flavor and nutrition for months. If you use them regularly, keeping a small portion in a jar in the refrigerator is perfect, while the rest can stay frozen until you need them. That way you're not constantly opening and exposing the whole batch to air and humidity. Now let's talk preparation. This is where a lot of people miss out on the full benefits of nuts. You've probably heard of soaking nuts, but maybe you didn't know why it's worth doing, especially for older adults. Most raw nuts contain compounds like phytic acid and enzyme inhibitors. These are natural plant defenses that make the nuts harder to digest and reduce your body's ability to absorb certain minerals like calcium, magnesium, and zinc. Soaking nuts, usually overnight in clean filtered water, helps break down these anti-nutrients. It mimics the process nature intended, softening the nuts and kickstarting the release of enzymes that make them easier on your stomach and more bioavailable nutritionally. For people with sensitive digestion, soaking can mean the difference between bloating and feeling great. All you need is a bowl, water, and a little time. Soak almonds for about 8 to 12 hours, then rinse them well before storing them in the fridge. You can do the same with walnuts, pecans, and even hazelnuts. Once soaked, you can eat them as is, dry them out in a low oven, or lightly roast them if you prefer a crunch. If roasting, keep the temperature low, no higher than 250 degrees Fahrenheit, about 120 degrees Celsius, and avoid adding any oils or coatings. Roasting at high temperatures not only damages those healthy fats, but it can also create harmful compounds that you don't want circulating through your system. A gentle roast for a short time brings out flavor while still preserving most of the nutrition. Finally, there's portioning, and this is a big one. Nuts are nutrient-dense, which is wonderful, but that also means they're calorie-dense. A handful can go from being a healthy snack to a blood sugar disruptor or digestive overload if you're not paying attention. And because they're easy to nibble on mindlessly, especially when watching TV or reading, it's helpful to portion them out ahead of time. Try keeping pre-measured servings in small containers or snack bags. For most people, about an ounce per serving is a good guideline. That's roughly 23 almonds, 14 walnut halves, or 49 pistachios. It may not look like much at first, but because nuts are so rich in healthy fats and protein, even a small amount can keep you full and satisfied for hours. And the best part is, when you buy the right nuts, store them carefully, and prepare them with just a little extra thought. You're not just adding a snack to your day, you're adding a tool for better brain function, heart health, and joint support. You're choosing food that works with your body, not against it. Now maybe you're watching this and thinking, well, this is great, but I can't eat nuts. Maybe you've got a nut allergy, or they just don't sit well with your digestion anymore. That's perfectly okay. There are still plenty of nutrient-rich, senior-friendly options that give you similar health benefits without the risks or discomfort. You don't have to miss out on all the goodness we've been talking about. Let's start with seeds. Don't let their small size fool you. Seeds are absolute powerhouses, packed with protein, healthy fats, fiber, and essential minerals. And because they're generally much easier on the digestive system, and rarely trigger allergies, they're an excellent alternative for seniors who can't tolerate nuts. Chia seeds are a great place to start. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, just like walnuts, and they also provide fiber to support digestion and heart health. When mixed with liquid, chia seeds form a gel-like texture that's gentle on the stomach and helps keep you feeling full. Try soaking them in almond milk, coconut milk, or water overnight, and enjoy them as a pudding with a bit of cinnamon and fruit. It's not only easy on your teeth and gut, it's nourishing, filling, and very hydrating too. Then there's flaxseed. Flax seeds are one of the best sources of plant-based omega-3s, and are known to support heart health, hormonal balance, and even cognitive function. But there's a catch. Whole flax seeds can pass right through your system without being absorbed. To get their full benefit, use ground flaxseed, often called flax meal. Sprinkle it over oatmeal, mix it into smoothies, or stir it into soups. Just 2 tablespoons a day can go a long way toward keeping your body regular, reducing inflammation, and boosting brain clarity. Pumpkin seeds, or pepitas, are another fantastic option. These little green gems are loaded with magnesium, which supports bone strength, nerve health, and sleep quality, all things that become even more important as we age. They also contain zinc for immune support and healthy skin, and iron for energy. Pumpkin seeds are easy to roast at home, lightly seasoned with a bit of olive oil and sea salt, or tossed into salads, yogurt, or even homemade granola. Another gentle non-nut alternative comes from the coconut family. Coconut is not only safe for most people with tree nut allergies, it also offers healthy saturated fats that provide long-lasting energy and support brain health. Coconut flakes, coconut butter, and even unsweetened shredded coconut can be used in snacks and baking for texture, richness, and nutritional benefit. You can also find coconut-based snack bars and spreads that are allergy-friendly and surprisingly satisfying. Coconut flour, for instance, is high in fiber and low in carbohydrates, making it a great ingredient for those looking to maintain stable blood sugar or reduce inflammation. And let's not forget coconut oil. Used in moderation, it can help improve absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and give meals a creamy, nourishing touch. Of course, when you're avoiding nuts, you might be worried about getting enough protein throughout the day. That's an important concern, especially for older adults who need more protein to maintain muscle strength and mobility. Thankfully, there are plenty of allergy-friendly protein snacks that are both nutritious and satisfying. Look for seed-based bars that use sunflower, hemp, or pumpkin seeds as their base. Many of these are made specifically for people with nut allergies and come in delicious flavors without added junk. Sunflower seed butter is another wonderful alternative to peanut butter. It has a creamy texture, a mild taste, and none of the nut-related risks. If you're on the go, roasted edamame or chickpeas can be great high-protein, crunchy snacks that are completely nut-free. They come in different flavors, are easy to pack, and offer a nice dose of fiber and protein without causing sugar spikes or crashes. And for those who want something simple and whole food based, hard-boiled eggs, Greek yogurt, or even a slice of turkey rolled up with avocado can offer that same feeling of fullness and nourishment. These protein-rich snacks work wonderfully between meals or after a walk, and they help keep your blood sugar steady, something so important for aging well. The point is, just because you can't have nuts, doesn't mean you're left out of the conversation. There are smart, easy alternatives that give you many of the same benefits: healthy fats, brain support, energy and immunity, without the need for even a single almond or walnut. What matters most is knowing your body, honoring your needs, and choosing foods that work with you, not against you. Whether it's seeds, coconut, or creative high-protein alternatives, there's always a way to fuel your body with confidence, clarity, and care. Let's bring it all together now. You know which nuts support your health, which ones to be careful with, and how to store and prepare them properly. But here's the thing, knowing isn't the same as doing. So how do you actually make nuts a consistent beneficial part of your meals, without overdoing it, getting bored, or forgetting they're even in the pantry? The answer lies in simple, intentional meal planning. Adding the right kinds of nuts into your day doesn't mean you have to overhaul your entire diet. In fact, a few thoughtful changes can make a big difference, especially if you're aiming to feel more energized in the morning, stay sharp in the afternoon, and rest better at night. Let's start with breakfast. Mornings are a perfect time to incorporate nuts because they provide slow-digesting fats and protein that can stabilize your blood sugar and keep you full until lunch. And if you're someone who often skips breakfast or reaches for something sugary just to get by, this one change can have a huge impact on your energy, focus, and mood. Try sprinkling chopped walnuts over a warm bowl of oatmeal, or stirring almond butter into a smoothie. That creamy texture, paired with some berries and leafy greens, turns an ordinary blend into something that fuels your brain and nourishes your body. You could also top plain Greek yogurt with a spoonful of soaked almonds and a drizzle of honey. It adds crunch, flavor, and a boost of magnesium and protein to start your day strong. Now, lunch is often a missed opportunity when it comes to nuts. But a simple salad can go from bland to brilliant, with a handful of toasted pistachios, or slivered almonds. They add healthy fats that help your body absorb the vitamins in your leafy greens, like vitamin K for bones, and vitamin A for vision. You could toss them into a quinoa salad with roasted vegetables, crumble them onto a soup, or mix them with chickpeas and olive oil for a hearty filling combo. When it comes to snacks, nuts are far better than most packaged options. Instead of reaching for chips or cookies, try a small serving of almonds with a piece of fruit, or blend walnuts, dates and shredded coconut into little energy bites you can keep in the fridge, ready for those mid-afternoon cravings. These kinds of snacks don't just satisfy, they nourish and sustain. And believe it or not, the right nuts in the evening can actually support better sleep. Magnesium-rich nuts, like almonds and pistachios, can help calm the nervous system and regulate melatonin, your body's sleep hormone. Try enjoying a light evening snack an hour or two before bed, like a chamomile tea with a few pistachios, or a warm banana slice with a spoonful of almond butter. It's calming, gentle, and promotes steady blood sugar through the night, so you're not waking up feeling groggy or weak. Now, to give you a clearer picture, let me walk you through a simple nut-inclusive day of eating. Nothing fancy, just real food, real timing, and real benefits. Start your morning with a bowl of steel-cut oats topped with ground flaxseed, a small handful of walnuts, and a few slices of banana. Add a boiled egg, or a scoop of plain Greek yogurt on the side, for extra protein. You'll feel full, focused, and ready to start the day. For lunch, build a fresh salad with mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, shredded carrots, and a handful of roasted pistachios. Add a protein like grilled chicken, or a hard-boiled egg, and drizzle it all with olive oil and lemon juice. Light, yet deeply satisfying. In the afternoon, have a snack that's both sweet and crunchy. A couple of dates stuffed with almond butter or sunflower seed butter, plus a few slices of apple. This kind of snack lifts your energy without the crash that comes from sugary treats. Then for dinner, think simple.
a piece of baked salmon, some roasted sweet potatoes, and steamed broccoli, with slivered almonds sprinkled over the top. The almonds not only add flavor and texture, but they also help you absorb the fat-soluble vitamins in your veggies more efficiently. And before bed, if you're feeling peckish, try a small bowl of warm almond milk, with a pinch of cinnamon, and a few crushed pistachios. It's like a cozy hug for your insides, soothing, calming, and good for your heart and mind. When you start planning your meals this way, with intention, balance, and just a handful of good whole foods, you begin to notice subtle changes: steadier energy, better digestion, sharper thinking. It doesn't have to be complicated, just consistent, and kind to your body. By now you've taken in a lot of valuable information, and you might be wondering, where do I even begin? Don't worry, let's gently walk back through the essentials, not to overwhelm you, but to bring it all together so you feel clear, confident, and ready to make small lasting changes that really support your well-being. We talked about 3 of the best nuts for seniors: walnuts, almonds, and pistachios. These aren't just tasty snacks, they're foods that actively support the systems that matter most as we age. Walnuts shine when it comes to brain health, thanks to their omega-3s and anti-inflammatory properties. Almonds give your bones and skin a boost, with calcium, magnesium, and vitamin E, especially when you soak them to unlock their full benefits. And pistachios, they're your heart's best friend, supporting cholesterol balance, and even protecting your eyesight, with powerful antioxidants. But we also covered the flip side, the nuts to avoid, or at least treat with caution. Peanuts may be popular, but the risk of mold toxins and inflammation is real, especially for sensitive digestive systems. Cashews, although delicious, can stress the kidneys and joints due to their oxalate content, particularly if you eat them often or in large amounts. And macadamia nuts, while not harmful in small doses, are so dense in fat that they can overwhelm your gallbladder or digestion if you're not careful. It's not about fear, it's about mindfulness. So how do you take this knowledge and use it wisely when you're out shopping? It starts with being label savvy. When you're choosing nuts or nut-based products, turn the package around and actually look at the ingredients list. The shorter, the better. Avoid anything with added sugars, processed vegetable oils, or words you can't pronounce. A good rule of thumb? If it says roasted in cottonseed oil or sugar glazed, it's not doing your health any favors. Look for raw or dry roasted nuts with no additive, and whenever possible, choose organic or non-GMO varieties, especially if you're buying almonds or peanuts, which are often heavily sprayed with pesticides. Store them in airtight containers, in a cool, dark place, or even better, in the fridge, to protect their natural oils from going rancid. And when it comes to how much to eat, remember, nuts are nutrient-dense. That means you don't need a large handful to feel their effects. A small portion, like a quarter cup a day, can offer tremendous health benefits without adding too many calories or overwhelming your digestion. More isn't always better, better is better. Beyond the nuts themselves, this is really about your lifestyle. What you choose to eat is just one part of a bigger picture. A picture that includes how well you sleep, how often you move, and how connected you feel to the people around you. So be gentle with yourself. Don't try to change everything all at once. Maybe today, it's swapping out that afternoon cookie for a few almonds and apple slices. Maybe next week, it's adding walnuts to your morning oatmeal. And when you notice that you're feeling just a little more focused, a little more energized, or sleeping a bit more soundly, that's your body saying thank you. You're not too old to start taking better care of yourself. In fact, there's never been a better time, because the choices you make now, even the smallest ones, still have the power to shape how you feel tomorrow, and the day after that. If today's video opened your eyes to how something as small as a nut can make such a big difference in your health, just imagine what else might be hiding in your everyday routine. The truth is, even foods we've been told are healthy for years could actually be working against us, especially once we're past 60, and our digestion, metabolism, and inflammation responses all start to change. But before you go, if you found this video helpful, take just a second to tap the like button. It's a small gesture that makes a huge difference. It helps more seniors like you find information that can truly support their well-being. And if you know someone in your life, A friend, a parent, a neighbor, who might be struggling with their diet, or unsure about what's truly healthy, send this video their way. Sometimes, all it takes is one tip to change the direction of someone's health journey. We're building a community here, people who want to age with confidence, clarity, and vitality. If that sounds like you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Every week, we share honest, research-backed health advice, tailored specifically for you, because your health matters, your time matters, and you deserve to feel good in your body, at every age. So stay curious, stay empowered, and I'll see you in the next video, where we uncover what healthy foods could be secretly holding you back. Until then, take care of yourself. You're worth it.